Today I'm going to bring you up to speed on Gollum, a Lord of the Rings tribute to our favorite little split personality troublemaker, then jumping into Fable, consider it as Fable 4, the latest installment to the franchise, and wrapping up with Starfield, the newest, biggest, baddest RPG brought to us by Bethesda. So there's a lot going on in the gaming world lately. Welcome to my channel, I'm Nookie Nook, let's dive into it. Quickly, before we get to it, the game I'm highlighting in the background is called Kholat. It's inspired by a true story about 9 experienced hikers who perished under very mysterious circumstances back in 1959 Russia. It's simply something I found intriguing. Kholat explores in sort of a tense, eerie, and otherworldly version of said mystery. Alright, let's get on with the show. So first up we have Gollum. This game feels like it set off a bomb and blew the developer right off the map, and it sort of did. Allow me to explain. Daedalic Entertainment kind of had a rough go with this one from the start. While some were super excited for an LOTR game from a Smeagol/Gollum perspective, a lot were skeptical of a full-on stealth LOTR game in general, much less giving Gollum the starring role. But as we all know, the proof is always in the pudding. And according to the majority of players, the pudding was moldy at best. Gameplay riddled with bugs, graphics compared to a 20-year-old PS2 standard, and though some found the dual dialogue between the two personalities to be decent enough, the overall voice acting and script itself left a lot to be desired, to the point that with a wipe-the-hands-clean decision, Daedalic Entertainment abolished the development side of the company altogether. Now there is some confusion as to whether or not this is company-wide, but it's pretty out there in black and white. They're focusing solely on their publishing side of business, with games behind them like Deponia and Pillars of the Earth, averaging review scores in the high 80s or even 90s. It's a tough gig when a massive potential falls short. So short that it fractures a fairly well-established company. A game attributed to repetitiveness, half-baked ideals, and poor quality AI, all is not lost. Given that Daedalic is focusing on publishing and other company prospects, in my view this gives them a chance to re-establish themselves in the future. It's hard to come back from a $70 pop embarrassment that most players regret the investment, but it's possible to recoup if focus is put into what went wrong. So, what did go wrong? Honestly, it's so easy to bite off more than one can chew in this industry. It's easy to have ideas and make promises based on those ideas, and after the bewildering mindfuckery world of COVID, it made it all the more difficult to deliver on those promises, to adhere to ideals, and to compete in this quicker than ever evolving industry. Is what it is. What say you? Holy shiz, this game. It has been so long awaited that I never thought it possible. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let's go through a quick Fable history lesson and why it sort of felt like an abandoned series. There's this whole rigmarole of development that took place before Fable was even born, and somewhat through the franchise's lifespan. It looks something like this. So, Peter Molyneux is the big player here, initially starting Bullfrog Productions. The company reached a merger with EA/Electronic Arts. Peter doesn't seem to like these big mergers. Around a year after EA bought in, he left and formed Lionhead. Together with Big Blue Box, they developed the original Fable in 2004. Now, Microsoft created a merger with Lionhead a couple years afterwards, and over the next 4 years put out the next phases of the Fable franchise. Curiously though, 2012 seemed to be a pivotal time for Fable. Peter put in a good 6 years after Microsoft took part, but I'm not sure he enjoyed the direction things were going. Lionhead struggled to keep the series alive in 2012 Fable Heroes, a family-friendly cutesy-styled beat-em-up, and Fable The Journey, which was set up solely to play on the Kinect, was very apparent. The struggle was real. It was almost no surprise in 2016 that another offshoot of the franchise, Fable Legends, saw very little potential as an MMO of sorts. They aimed to garner money back through add-ons and in-game purchases, and that led to their dissolution shortly after Fable Legends was cancelled in 2016. So that all brings us to 2020, when Microsoft announced Fable was making a comeback. Much like the main games, we'll again take the control of our hero, and this year, we got a glimpse of what we can expect during June's Xbox Showcase. Finally! Playground Games, makers of the Forza franchise many know and love, are taking the lead in developing Fable 4. Interestingly, they're adapting the Forza Tech engine to develop the Fable world. There really is no catch here so far. Funnily enough, the majority of complaints and skepticism comes from our new hero's face. While the trailer looks fan-friggin-tastic, with a familiar-faced narrator/giant from the IT crowd, the Fable crowd was less pleased, with some comparing the hero to Shrek's Fiona. And albeit, most don't give a rat's ass. That's why I think the critique is kind of funny. Most of those seem to want more of a flashback in the game's graphics, which will end up being more of a critique a general racing game engine is being used by a racing game company to create a somewhat stylized ARPG to people that have been fans for 20 years. Literally. It's speculated to release sometime in 2024 or 2025. I am absolutely one of those longtime fans, but I am looking forward to it. I don't totally care if the character looks a little derped. If they can pull off the gameplay and suck us back into the world of Albion, I damn well can't wait. Bethesda's first independent game in 25 years. Wow! Knowing what Bethesda has under their belt, to me this is astounding. It's like Eve and Skyrim made a baby using Icarus as a surrogate, and the game baby had cosmic superpowers. The goal seems to be to damn near live in it. The game, not the baby, just being clear. It also gives me Crimson Sky vibes too, and the flight and fight simulations are just out of this world. With release set for September 6th, a lot of gamers are excited for the prospects Starfield has to offer, but not everyone gets to partake. Since Bethesda was newly acquired by Microsoft, and on the console side, this means it'll settle into Xbox's realm of hit games, but as an exclusive. In turn, this means PlayStation users are just shit out of luck. Good old Sony versus Microsoft battle of exclusives. It even garnered a petition via change.org. PlayStation players are taking a stance that Starfield would do better as a PlayStation exclusive. They argue the complexity of graphics and Bethesda's reputation for putting out games riddled with bugs makes it less sustainable as a cosmically huge demanding entity of a game. They also feel Starfield would do better with profits as a PlayStation exclusive versus Xbox. Speaking of, new developments towards release has seen Starfield partnered with AMD, a mega manufacturer of computer components, namely CPUs and graphics cards most are familiar with. But what does this mean? How about a chance to play Starfield early? That's right, folks! If you purchase certain AMD products, you can get the game for free and be able to partake in Starfield up to 5 days early. Depending on which eligible product you purchase for $200 to $600, you get either the standard or premium editions absolutely free, as well as a scheduled early access set to be September 1st. There are now a few other ways to gain early access as well. You can purchase the Constellation or premium editions for about $100 to $250, or supposedly with a Game Pass subscription and a purchase of the premium upgrade for about $40, you can also apparently gain early access, and that does give you up to those 5 days prior to the game's release. I'm intrigued to see how all this plays out. I'm sure more updates will come closer to release, but if I'm missing any information, feel free to let me know in the comments. So there we have it, Gollum's demise, a fabled history, and the year in a Starfield in a nutshell. I'm sad about Gollum. It would have been neat to see what it could have become, but I'm stoked about Fable. As a big fan of the series, it has major potential to carry on the legacy. And I'm a bit indifferent to Starfield. I like the premise, I like the ideas, and I like the clear ambition. I'm just not sure I have that much dedication to invest the time it'll take to peruse or partake everything Starfield offers. So what about you? Thoughts and comments are welcome. I hope I helped bring you up to speed on a few interesting gaming tidbits. Until next time, I'm Nookie Nook. Cheers and happy gaming.